Hey guys, so I'm going to be talking about how to detail in tight places, because sometimes you don't have a lot of room to detail and you still want to make your car look good. Help. So how's your day been? It's pretty nice looking in here, not gonna lie.
Alright boys and girls, I wanted to go over a few methods for taking care of your car when you're tight on space or resources. So this is a video for you if you don't have much space to detail, or if you don't have access to water or electricity. I've got some tips for everyone in that subset of people who want to detail but don't necessarily have the means to do a full 100% detail. I guess we'll just get into it then, huh? So here's my recommendations if you don't have access to water or electricity. So I'm going to start off pretty simple. The hardest part about taking care of your car is you usually need a lot of space to wash it with a pressure washer, and that means you need access to water and electricity to wash your car, right? Or if you just have access to water, you might just need a hose. But if you don't have access to either water or electricity, then something that's really nice is you can get something called a rinseless wash or a waterless wash. There's a bunch of different names. I use McKee's, it's like 934, some random number, but it's basically just a very dilutable rinseless wash. They recommend 1 to 256, but you can go from anywhere from 1 to 256 to 1 to 8, depending on what your purpose is with the rinseless wash. 1 to 256 is for any light cleaning like door jams and stuff like that. I like to do 1 to 64 just because it's a little bit more cleaning power to it, because those door jams can get pretty mucky. But the nice thing about a rinseless wash is you don't need a hose or any water to actually wash your car. And this is going to take a decent amount of effort compared to doing a pressure wash. You're probably gonna have to be a little bit more careful with what you're doing because there isn't any foam to protect your paint from scratching. If your car experiences light amount of use or there's not a huge amount of dirt on it, then this will help you to kind of clean up your exterior or just to clean up certain spots that you don't like in a limited amount of space. So I'm not really sure how to show this, but one thing is whenever I wash my car, I always get water spotting right around the trunk, because a lot of water gets stored in this area and then it gradually just runs out. And so when it dries, it leaves water spotting. So sometimes I'll just take a little bit of rinseless wash and just hit the water spotted areas. You can just take this throughout your whole car. If you don't have access to water or electricity, this is great. But just keep in mind that if your car is really dirty, you might still scratch it. Just be a little bit mindful of that. Like I say all the time, I'm addicted to those words. Also, I really shouldn't be cleaning my glass with this fat towel because it leaves lint everywhere. Really smart am I? Whatever. But you can see, you don't need a whole lot of space to use just a rinseless wash and a microfiber towel. And you're gonna wanna use more than one microfiber towel, trust me. But this is something you can do without much space and with limited resources. So I can go to my sink, fill up a spray bottle with some water and a little bit of the cleaner, and I can just grab a couple microfiber towels and take care of my car. Even if I'm in a parking garage, or here's my garage, it's very small and I don't have a lot of space to work with, so it works great for that. You can do the same thing with glass or really any exterior chemical, but you don't need a pressure washer with a hose, and you don't need to foam it down. You don't need to do all that extra business. We can get into a few other methods for managing your space and keeping light while you're detailing in tight areas. Let's get into the next one. Boom. So this one's a little bit more, so I'm picking my nose here. So one thing that's important with detailing is being able to have a vacuum. Man, mine's getting all dusty, because that's probably the main tool you need for interior work. I've just got this VacMaster Professional. This thing's pretty large, but it is portable. You can get much smaller ones. You can get ones that are battery powered and stuff, but having a nice small, maybe you could have a gallon size vacuum that is really portable is gonna be really nice for making sure you do a good job with all that different interior work, and it'll be portable for you as well. So choosing the right vacuum is gonna be pretty important depending on where you have to work. Before I had this one, I had this different VacMaster one. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this brand or anything, but I think it was a little 1 gallon red vacuum that it worked really well. but if you're doing more than one car, it's not gonna really support that too well. The power of it wasn't all that great, so I was spending a little extra time vacuuming because it was so small, and so I needed something a little more powerful that I wouldn't have to waste so much time with, so that's why I upgraded. But you can find a lot of really good vacuums that are gonna be portable and, you know, work well with what you need to do for detailing. Like even in this narrow valley here, I'll be able to easily take, you know, this vacuum I have now and work it. I mean, not easily, but I'm just demonstrating that you don't need a whole lot of that area to work with. So you can see I can get my door open and I have enough room for the vacuum and me to use the vacuum as well. So like you can see, I can get my vacuum in. Easy peasy. If you don't have like an electrical plug, it can be kind of a problem because you won't be able to, you know, necessarily vacuum your whole car before the battery runs out. If you are going to use a battery powered vacuum, if you have the option to not use one, like do that for sure. But if you need a battery powered one, then, you know, look for ones that are gonna be energy efficient, small. You don't necessarily need one that's going to suck super well. You don't necessarily need one that's going to be the best vacuum in terms of suction, because if you're agitating the carpet with a cleaner or with just your brush, that loosens up the dirt enough where pretty much any vacuum should be able to suck it up. Like you shouldn't have any problems with that. So getting just something that's portable and works for your environment is really important. And you know, that's just a little tip. You don't need a whole lot of space to actually use a vacuum, and so that's why it's, you know, really nice for pretty much any environment. Like if you're in a parking garage, you could just have a nice little portable battery powered one. And I wish I had a recommendation, but I really don't. Maybe I'll look up a little bit of something and I'll just throw it right here. Yeah, this is the one I found after like reading a little bit, but you know, feel free to make your own decision and do your own research and all that as well. So we got like the exterior down. You don't need like a specific, you don't need like a hose with washing your car. We also got some of the interior stuff where you don't need a whole lot of tools. You just need your brush and maybe a couple cleaners and, you know, a nice portable vacuum. I mean, is there really anything else? I don't know. Wow. So if you only have access to electricity, then I would highly recommend getting a wired vacuum, because then it'll be able to run consistently and you'll be able to do your whole car, vacuum your whole car without any issues. And also with like just having battery is you can use, or just electricity, you can use other things like, I don't know. If you only have electricity, like you're still gonna have a problem trying to wash your car just because you won't have water to actually run a pressure washer or anything like that. The electricity case doesn't really benefit you too much, but you can get that vacuum running pretty consistently, which is nice. You're always gonna have access to your steamer. That's right. And an extractor if you have one. So those are a couple powerful tools you can have if you just have electricity. So it does actually benefit you a lot. I don't know what I was thinking. Long day. So if you only have access to water, one thing that's nice is you can still wash your car with just a hose. So what you could do is you could fill up a bucket with some, you know, car soap and some water, and then get like a wash mitt or something in there, and then you just rinse down your car with some water beforehand, and then you take your wash mitt and just wash the car up. I actually did this with the AI car wash video. How should I wash my car? You basically hose down the car and then you do the hand wash and then you rinse it off. So just keep in mind with the hose, it's gonna take longer than if you had a pressure washer, just because the hose really doesn't have any ability to push anything off the surface too well. It'll take you a little bit longer than if you just had a pressure washer, but it'll still do a good job in terms of like getting your car dry and clean. With MySpace, I can just get a hose running and just do it inside my garage if I really want to, which, you know, I'd only really do that during the winter. And you don't have to worry about space because the hose, you don't have to worry about splashback or, you know, accidentally shooting yourself with the pressure washer and, you know, damaging your foot or something. A hose is just a good option if you're limited on space. Like even if you try to run like a stubby with a pressure washer in tight spaces, it's a little risky, but it is doable. So, I'd personally recommend sticking to the hose if you are tight on space and only have water. The last one is where you're running on tight space and you have water and electricity, and this is probably the most optimal because then you'll be able to use both the vacuum and the hose together. That's the most ideal situation, is even if you're tight on space, you still have the ability to clean your car. But you know, you just have to deal with being in a tight space and just being annoyed that you don't have any more room to work. Yeah, I think I've got everything covered. You know, even in tight spaces, you should be able to get interior pretty much the same as if you had a lot of space. The exterior is the only really big problem, and also, you know, making sure you have access to a vacuum. But yeah, don't worry if you don't have much space to detail. You don't really need a lot of space. You just need to realize that the less space you have, it's usually going to take you a little longer, because you don't have the means to organize everything around you the way that would suit you best for working fast. Felt like I said a lot of words that meant nothing, but they did mean something. So take that. Most important things are that you have access to water and electricity. If you don't, then you can still work on your car, but it's just, like I said before, again, it's going to be probably a little bit more of a process, or there's more risk of damage over time. If you want to do wheels and you don't have access to water or electricity, you're kind of screwed. There's really no good options for just wiping them down like with a waterless wash. But honestly, you don't need to clean your wheels all too often. Cleaning your wheels too often is actually sort of a negative thing. So you might actually be better off just holding off on the wheels. So I thought this would be a little bit more interesting to talk about, but I just don't really know what other tips to give for tight spaces. So like if I can detail in this cramped garage, like you should be able to do it in your parking garage or really wherever. Honestly, a parking garage might be a little bit worse, because if you're parked next to other cars, you don't want to like hit them or anything. Just try to give yourself as much space as you can, because you don't really realize how important having a good amount of space is for detailing until you have none of it. Like during the winter, when I sometimes try to do some work on my car, I got like zero space, and it's just kind of frustrating. See if you can give yourself some good space. Yeah, enjoy your time detailing, because, you know, it's kind of fun, I guess. I don't know. Guys, that's all I have for detailing in tight areas. It's not really that crazy of a video, quite simple idea, but if you are worried about not having enough space to detail, there are solutions for you, and I hope I kind of demonstrated a few of those. Interior's pretty piece of cake, that one's a given, but with the exterior, that can be a little bit challenging. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. I'll see you guys later. I love you guys.